Okay, in this video we're going to be designing a part for our magnetic pencil holder, and it's the piece that holds the pencil in place. So just going to Blackboard real quick, you want to make sure that inside the SketchUp folder you've read and taken a look at the Rapid Prototyping Challenge. Two things to remember here: you have the orthographic drawing, which I have open right here, along with the template I want you to use. Make sure that you've created folders, you've named your work properly. So please make sure you read this getting started and saving your drawing piece as well. So taking a quick look at the drawing, this is what's on Blackboard. Here we have a front view, top view, and a right side view. Keep in mind I have what's called the isometric here. We're going to be drawing this front view first. You can see then that's going to be just push-pulling to get the width that we want here with the addition of this hole for the screw we're going to be using. So looking at this drawing, there's a lot of information here. Keep in mind that we are going to be designing this in millimeters as we go through this tutorial. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. First things first, I'm actually going to start with the front view, this portion right here. You'll notice that this has a radius of 3.5 millimeters. Now that's from center to this inner edge, but then we're going to use a tool called offset to add this thickness of 1. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so here we are back in SketchUp, and first thing I want us to do is change this to the front view. So we're going to look up here at our views. I'm going to click right here, front, and don't zoom in, zoom out, just leave everything as it is. But I will say this next step is important so that the step that follows works the way we want it to. So I'm going to hit C for circle, and I'm going to ask you to click right with your left mouse button, click right at the origin, just single click once and release. Now let's move either directly up, that's fine, or you can move directly to the right. So red or blue axis, but I just want you also to know that down here is where this number is going to appear. You do not have to click here. Just move your mouse either directly up or directly to the right. Stay on either axis and please type in 3.5. Hit enter. Okay, we're going to use a tool called offset right here. Single click with your left mouse button. If you recall, we had an offset here of 1 millimeter from this circle that we just made. So I'm going to go ahead and single click right on the edge. Just pick any edge. You can see it turns blue. Click once. Do not hold down your mouse button. Just move outward. And once again, in bottom right hand corner, you can see this number is going to be adjusted. And now we're just going to type in the number 1 and hit enter. Okay, so here's why earlier I wanted you to move either directly up or directly over to the right. We're now going to make this piece. This is a rectangle at first, which is going to have some pieces and parts removed like this corner. Keep in mind we have an overall length of 15 and a height of 2. So we're going to go back to SketchUp, and here's once again why this was critical earlier. You're going to find the point we want is right here. It's right where these two edges that you actually see on these circles sometimes. You see these edges. It's right where they intersect, right where they connect. And we want to make sure we're going to be clicking here with our rectangle tool. So I'm going to hit R for rectangle. I'm going to zoom in so you can see what I'm referring to. But I want to click right at that point. This is extremely important. If you're not seeing this, please stop the video and have Mr. Volt come help you. So I'm going to go ahead and click once with my left mouse button. Just release the mouse. I'm going to zoom out so we can see what's happening. I'm going to move up and over to the right. And once again, I don't have to try to find these numbers. I'm just going to type in 15 for the length, comma 2 for the height, then hit enter. Okay? A few tricks we've learned. If you double click your mouse wheel, everything should fit on the screen. Some of you also know that if you go to Control Shift E, that's also a very good trick. Actually, the double clicking of the mouse wheel, I'm sorry, that's for my inventor users, my 8th graders. But Control Shift E works great. Okay, so we're not going to clean up anything yet. We're going to do one last step here. If you take a look once again on this drawing, you'll notice that I have this 35-degree angle. This is how we get this and this to appear, and how much we then know how much to erase. Keep in mind, we're working strictly off the front view right now, but in a minute we're going to be using some of these other views to figure out some of this other information. So let's go back and let's go ahead and use a tool called Protractor. It's right here on the left. And I'm using the large tool set, so the large tool set allows me to use a protractor. I'm going to single click with my left mouse button right in the dead center of this drawing. That's called the origin. Single click, and I want you to release your mouse, and here's what you need to tell SketchUp first. Tell it what 0 is in terms of degrees. So let's just move straight across, and you can really click anywhere on this red axis, but you have to be moving to the right. And I can just click right over here. Why not? We'll click right here. And now I'm going to move my mouse up and over to the left, and once again I can type information in, but as you see in the bottom right hand corner as I move this angle, you can see it appear, but I'm going to type in 35 and hit enter. Okay, so you can see we now have a 35-degree angle, meaning this was 0. We went up 35 degrees, we have a 35-degree angle. Let's do the same thing here. So we single click with our left mouse button, move directly to the left this time, and once again I'm going to stop right here because I can. Clicking a second time, and now I'm just going to move in the direction I want the angle to appear, and once again I'm going to type in 35 and I'm going to hit enter. Okay, so what does this do for us? Easy. Now we can take the line tool, or L on my keyboard. I'm going to zoom in really close so you can see what I'm doing, and you have to get right on this target. You want to get where this protractor line intersects with the edge of this circle, and here's the word you want to see. If you put your mouse right here, the word intersection is important. So click once with your left mouse button, and just go right to the center, the origin, and click a second time. Okay, now I'm in the drawing tool, and I'm going to hit my escape key just to get out. Okay, so we just want to take a look. This should look just like so. And the reason I hit my escape key, sometimes I've found that if I keep drawing this line, I have had issues and errors before, so I'm just going to start fresh. Once again, right where the protractor line intersects, click once with your left mouse button. I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to come here. You can see something interesting. My line's not appearing. Well, watch what happens when I click that second time. It appears. It's a little SketchUp glitch. Okay, so now we're going to clean up this drawing. So we're going to do a bit of erasing. We're going to hit our eraser tool, and I'm going to start getting rid of some stuff. So I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to get rid of this. If you look inside here, we don't want any of this information. We want what's on the outside. So I'm going to click here, and I'm going to click here just in case. I doubt there's a line here, but sometimes because of the axes, you can't see it. This is a line some kids are probably going to forget, this one right here. So make sure we click right on that blue axis. And we're going to get rid of this information inside as well. This is very important. Your pencil will not fit if we don't get rid of this and this. And we're just going to clean this up. Don't forget this line right here. Okay, so just take a close look. If you do this right, your push-pulling is going to work on the next step. If not, then you're going to see parts of your part push-pull. Okay, so I'm going to go to an ISO view. Always important to be in some type of isometric view whenever you're going to do any type of push-pulling. So I'm going to hit P for push-pull. I'm going to find this face. You can see the entire face is dotted. That's a good sign. That means I didn't leave any extra lines. I'm going to click once with my left mouse button. Just click once. Move away from you, and once again, just type in a number. The number, if you look at the drawing, is 15. It actually, I think it's listed in your right side view as the width. So I'm going to type in 15 and hit enter. Okay. Now, good time to save. I'm going to hit File, Save. I've saved it once. All I have to do is hit Control S. You can see I have the correct file name here, last name, period number, and then MPH. Let's just kind of take a quick look. That looks good. That looks great. If I look at this from a front view, okay, it's a bit in a perspective mode, which is why it kind of looks a little different from your ortho views. But this is looking good so far. So what we want to do is just put that hole in. So I'm going to go back to my drawing, and now we're going to look at our front view here. So if we look, excuse me, our top view here. So if you take a look, this hole has a 2 millimeter diameter. So the radius is 1, but the overall diameter is 2. This hole is centered and 5 millimeters in. So you can see that this is 7.5. Overall width of this part is 15. So knowing that this is 15, middle is 7.5, we go 5 millimeters in. And that's where we make this 2 millimeter diameter hole. So it's going to look something like this. This is actually very simple. I'm going to hit T for tape measure. I'm going to find this edge, just hover right on it. Just click anywhere on this edge, doesn't matter. Just click on that line. Move towards the inside. I'm going to type in 5. Once again, that appears in the right corner. Hit enter. Now this is the beauty of SketchUp. I don't have to do any more measuring here. I can just hit C for circle. I'm going to go ahead and just move my mouse along this edge until I find the midpoint, and it's right there. So once again, you got to find that midpoint. Now move directly in. Look at that red line up here. And the second you hit that tape measure mark, you have found that location. So I'm going to single click once with my left mouse button. I'm going to move in any direction. This time it doesn't matter what direction you move. And just type in, remember, it's the diameter of 2, but the radius, SketchUp wants the radius. Radius is 1. Hit 1 and hit enter. Okay, I think we're just about done here. I'm going to hit P for push pull. I'm going to zoom in. And this is where Xray can come in very handy. But watch what I'm going to do here. I'm going to make sure I'm push pulling this, not this. So I click once with my left mouse button. You may have learned this trick in one of my videos. If you touch this bottom edge of this part, here, here, doesn't matter. When I click a second time, I use my orbit tool, I should have gone all the way through. And that's just what happened. If not, hit Control Z, try it again. Okay, here's something cool, Xray. So with Xray, you can really see that hole going all the way through your part. Very cool. Okay, let's go ahead and do a quick save, Control S. Okay, last step, folks. We're going to get this prepped for printing. So I'm going to ask you to hit your arrow tool, or your space bar does the same thing. You can do this a few ways. You can either triple click, 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 click with your left mouse button. Everything gets selected. Or, here's an easy way. Just click and drag, put a big box around the part. It's okay if this does not get selected, not important. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to rotate this for 3D printing. It's going to make it a little bit easier for us on the printer, and it's a good thing to know. I'm going to click on this rotate tool, and here's what you got to remember. This is simple. Just move the protractor. It looks like a protractor, even though it's a rotate tool. Just move it anywhere along this edge, okay, anywhere. And I'll be honest with you, I'm going to keep it simple, I'm going to put it right at midpoint, okay? But honestly, you could also put it here on the end. You could put it here. You just have to make sure that you see a red protractor, okay? Midpoint is fine. I'm going to click once. Now I'm going to move my mouse to the left. So just make sure you kind of move to the left. And at any point you can click. It doesn't matter where. I can click here. I can even click here. You can see a green axis here. I can click right here. I'm going to click a second time, and as I move my mouse up, once again, keep it simple. You can just type in the number 90. But typically, SketchUp snaps to a 90-degree angle. You can see right now, bottom right-hand corner, it says 90. But let's just say it was moving. Type in 90 and hit enter. Excellent. Perfect. We are done. So I'm just going to click on arrow, click off my drawing, Control Shift E. If you want, it's bothering you, you can erase that tape measure mark, but that's fine. You can leave it. But one last time, folks, Control S, and that is complete. Do not worry about the fact that your part is not at the origin, okay? If you're one of these people like me that's got to be just perfect, 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 remember what I showed you. Triple click, left, 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 okay? Here's a cool tool. Move, grab that corner, click once. You see the model's entirely blue, which means everything's selected. And I can just pop it right there, left click again, Control Shift D. Once again, you want to do that one final step, knock yourself out. Other than that, I'm ready for printing.